Guys, welcome to a live shot of Steelers. The difference between the live shot of Steelers versus the daily shot of Steelers versus the double shot of Steelers is really nothing at all. We just have different names for these things to make it sound like we've got all kinds of extensive programming. We really don't. We just talk about the Steelers all the time. It's what we do. It's just a way of life, really. Chris Halleck's going to be joining us from Latrobe in short order. He was out there today sweating in the 100-degree heat and all that other stuff. And I stayed downtown because, I'll be back out there on Tuesday. And I had a whole bunch of other catching up to do. And tomorrow I'm going to do some baseball and everything else here. But we're going to talk about where the Steelers are through now 3 days of practices in Latrobe. And I'm going to offer you before we even, you can tell Chris isn't here yet. See that over there? That's a black box. That's not Chris. It's not Chris with the lights out either. He's just not in yet. When he does come in, we'll let you know. My overarching impression to date is that this defense has what I believe are the ingredients to be capable of, note all the qualifications, to be really, really good, guys, to be really good. They are dynamic at virtually every area, every level of that defense, and never more so than in the secondary with what we're seeing with Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay and Joey Porter Jr. I haven't had nearly enough coffee yet. We're gonna be talking about that a lot with Chris. In fact, who did just pop in there? Look at that. Look at him. He's
huffing and puffing.
Huffing and puffing it goes.
Huffing and puffing.
And Chris is actually, his focus for the day has been the secondary. So Chris, try to explain, if you can, to everybody what exactly entails coverage people. What does that mean, coverage people? And who are these three coverage people, and what are they actually doing out there so far?
The thing is, it's not just three of them. Today, Darius Slay had a vet off day. He wasn't out there at all.
Good.
And so that meant more reps for other guys, and Corey Trice just continues to impress. Jalen Ramsey, obviously, he's doing what he's doing. He had an interception of Aaron Rodgers today. It was a play action bootleg to the left, and he put it up over the top for Jonnu Smith, and Ramsey just leaps up and takes it away. And it's almost the kind of stuff you expect from Jalen. Even Jonnu was kind of like, yeah, that's what he does. But watching Corey Trice, get tight coverage on Jonnu Smith over the middle, Smith actually reel in the pass, and then Trice knocked the ball out to force an incompletion. That kind of stuff, whenever I look at who they have at the top three, and then you add in the way Brandon Echols has looked and the way Corey Trice has looked, I'm sorry,
there's a lot going on there.
Yes. Very much.
There's a lot going on there. Before we get too deep into the program, we have some guests here in the shop here, and a young man named Christian is out for blood, right? You're like, he's here to challenge me on oh no, he's denying it now. Come on in here, Christian. Christian's going to tell us a little bit about why he disagreed with a recent show that I had. Go right ahead, Christian.
Well,
he's going to
I guess so. Well, my initial intention wasn't to disagree, but I guess okay. I guess since it feels like I have to disagree at this point, I don't know. I guess I'm seeing a little bit more out of the Steelers receiver core with how Calvin Austin did last year, with how with the expectations that the Steelers had for Roman Wilson when he was first drafted. And then, of course, DK Metcalf. And then I thought the tight ends were really good. And now with the Jonnu Smith, I'd like to know if now you guys think the Steelers receivers and tight ends are
Super Bowl worthy.
Yeah.
That was it. It's for to put a little bit of additional context into this. Christian's referring to a show I did. I don't know, might have been a Daily Shot a couple of weeks ago. It was really poorly received, I might add. Like everybody hated it, not just Christian. It was all about how I felt like the Steelers were only Super Bowl worthy in one room, and that was outside linebacker. Ooh, boy, that was.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, Chris remembers that didn't go well for me. But look, I'm happy to be proven wrong on all fronts, including Aaron Rodgers, by the way. I spent half the summer criticizing the Steelers' pursuit of Rodgers. He's come in. He's shown himself well on a field, off the field. The secondary has gone from being, oh, no, to look at it now. The wide receivers, as Christian just pointed out, we're not just talking about DK Metcalf here. We saw the way Calvin Austin broke off. That's what that was, Chris. That was a double move yesterday. Mm-hmm. And what happened? He had a quarterback get him the ball. He had a quarterback recognize him and get him the ball, right? So, yes, can they show us stuff? Of course, right?
They can, but they can also have days like today, which didn't look as great. Calvin Austin dropped a couple of passes. One of them was not just a drop where it hits him in the hands and then falls to the ground. It's a tip drill, which you never want to do. You would rather just drop it and have it fall harmlessly to the ground. And then Roman Wilson, he continues to line up on the outside, which I'm all for. Let's see if he can do it. Well,
Why?
Because I want to see if he can do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to see what it looks like, because there's no way to know what you have in Roman Wilson other than he can play out of the slot because he did it at Michigan. That was his role at Michigan. But what else can he do? How does he look on hitches? Right. How does he look on curls? How does he look on these? And so a couple of the routes today ran a really deep really deep curl on the right side, being on a trips formation. He was the outside receiver. It's just slow. It's not fast enough. And the little inside scoop here, Aaron Rodgers was actually working with Roman Wilson, mapping out what he's looking for in terms of details from Roman whenever he's breaking out of these routes. So that's what you want to see from the quarterback. First off, with how detail-oriented that is, you want to see him actually map it out, not just being like, hey, you got to go do it this way, figure it out. No, I'm actually going to show you what I'm looking for. So it wasn't a great day for the receivers. It was a better day for the secondary for sure.
We have a story here from yesterday. This is actually kind of funny. So we're standing on the sideline, me and Chris, as the practice is going on, or I don't know, it might have been already over or something. And I hear a couple people yelling from the back, DK. And of course I'm thinking, Metcalf, right?
Yeah.
And it's this guy. And he's yelling out. No, go ahead and explain yourself.
Well, we were just wanted to visit here, and we weren't sure if he'd be there on Friday, so we just wanted to make sure. But yeah.
So so the funniest part is there's two other reporters around me because Chris had started moving to the other end of the field, right? Mm-hmm. And they're poking fun at me. Oh, hey, DK, they're calling for you. They're calling for you. Because, of course, they couldn't possibly be calling for me. Turn around, and there's Christian, and he yells out, what time's your shop open tomorrow? And I look at the other two reporters So you really, that was a big moment in my life. I just want you to know that all really twinned together. And then just when you think it's a fluke, there was some other dude about 5-10 feet down, and he goes, DK, can we get a picture with you? And I was like, picture with me? Why, yes, as a matter of fact, you can get a picture with me. So that was actually pretty cool. I appreciate that. Appreciate you, bud. And I'm glad you kept your word and came in to see us.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I'll see you out in Latrobe.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Have fun out there. Me and Chris are going to be back right after this brief break, and we're going to be talking some football. But that was way too quick of a break.
Really brief break.
Still fist bumping the young man, and you come back. I'm like, yeah. Okay. And no, he's not coming for my seat. So you paranoid people, he's not coming to steal my job. He's not coming to steal Chris's job. I don't think, that's just, when we talk, Chris, about the way this team is coming together, it's impossible to avoid some of the defensive symmetry and the defensive synergy. I think that we've seen out there. There just feels like there's a big play waiting to happen. Does that make sense, or is that too vague?
No. I mean, again, they are flying around. They are, dare I say, suffocating at times. It's really impressive what they're doing right now, especially with how early it is in camp. And the thing is that, when Deshaun Elliott spoke after practice today, he just flat out said, like, we're decent. We're not there yet. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like,
you're not.
If this is the starting point, if this is the launch pad for where this secondary is going to go, I don't even know what the ceiling is. I mean, we're talking about a defense that's still, I mean, again, people want to forget about 2024 because of the way it ended, because of the final 5 games. But this is still a defense that was tied for the league lead in takeaways last year.
Mm-hmm.
This is still a defense that, even with their issues of not being able to get to the quarterback as consistently, was middle of the pack, not even like bottom of the league, but middle of the pack in terms of actual sacks, bringing the quarterback down. And the on paper stuff, obviously it looks better, but then you get to what we're actually seeing over the first 3 days of practice. And if this is the starting point, I'm not trying to like give people hopium and stuff like that, but it's the best first impression I can imagine for what this defense wants to do for their goals.
And that's all it is a first impression. I don't think either of us is blowing this up or hyping it or anything like that. Our good friend Fishing for Trout says this is beyond coverage that connects. Best Saturday of the summer, thanks to DK, Chris, Dolly, and of course Christian. These are fun. That's all. This is the fun part. Ask Chris what the hard work is. This isn't it.
No, this is easy. I got the hard work coming right after I'm done with this.
Yeah, exactly. Richard says the Steelers fan base is strong. Great seeing the young fans. There's a part of me that I don't want to overstate this, but when we saw the way the Penguins took over the younger generation in our city through the entirety really of the Sidney Crosby era, there was a part of me that wondered, because it was now, if you're a Steelers fan, you're a Yinzer, you're old, you're talking with the thick accent and everything else. Whereas if you're a Penguins fan, you were just totally cool. And I see young Steelers fans. I do. We see them in Latrobe, certainly, and they're not all going to be able to recite the wide receiver depth chart like Kristen did, but they're going to be their fans. Dead Sea Monster wants to know, how does it work in this heat now? Is there someone who keeps track of how much players are drinking? There are athletic trainers and other assistants who are not as high on the totem pole as athletic trainers, and they are walking around. Oh, no, they're running around actually with these orange carts and these hoses attached to them, and they're looking. Now, are the players, are they counting the players? No. Okay. But what happens is you'll hear other players will say to players, coaches, positional coaches will say to players, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Didn't help the lady who passed out about 10 feet to our right yesterday, Chris.
Yeah.
Young lady just went boom right on the sideline.
It's and today was really, it might have been the most miserable day of the 3 so far. It was about 90 degrees on the field, and then the humidity was probably worse than it was on Thursday. And for the first stages of practice, too, they didn't even go on the main fields because I think they were just saving that for because of how much it rained. They were saving that for the main portion of practice pretty much. And so they were all on the turf field. And anybody who's been on turf fields as opposed to grass fields, turf gets way more hot than grass. So when you're standing, even for us media members, standing on the very edge of that turf, you're not only getting hit from the top from the actual sun, but it's also hitting you from the bottom because it's just bouncing off those little tiny rubber pellets that are all the infill for the grass, for the artificial grass. And so you're just being completely bombarded with heat. And that's where those players were on for the first, half hour, 40 minutes of practice until they went over to the grass. So it was a very miserable day. Some guys left, not anybody of significance, like a starter or anything like that left with heat related stuff, but they are being in constant communication of who's possibly, who needs to take a break, who needs to rehydrate, who needs, whatever. Jeremiah Moon was the only actual injury today, and it was a calf injury, and he's being evaluated right now. So
calves don't heal quickly.
No, calf injuries are not great. So we'll have to see how that goes for him.
A couple of specific questions today, Chris. This is what people always want to hear from training camp reporting. We've talked about it. We can get all analytical here. Everyone just wants to know what happened, who looked good, what happened, who looked good. Sean Jameson wants to know when Derek Harmon got in quick today, which he did. Who let him get by, and is that more about them having no pads?
I didn't actually see that happen. Like I had my eyes elsewhere.
It's tough, guys. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah.
Me and Chris will actually, when we're there side by side, we'll actually pick what we're watching. You watch this, I watch that, because there aren't replays, there aren't videos. You're trying to absorb as much as you can.
And you're watching from the sideline too, so it's not like you have an all 22 view
right.
as well. So you're watching from the sideline. But what I can say, and I did talk with Zach Frazier after practice today about like what all can you do during this acclimation period when you're not wearing pads. And he said, well, obviously the physicality isn't quite there because it's not full go, but he said the reps are still full speed. And so you still get a really good feel for how the play is supposed to be blocked up from the offensive side and on the defensive side where you're supposed to attack. But in terms of who's winning reps, that's not really happening just yet. So like I know the one video has kind of gone crazy on social media of Alex Highsmith stepping to the outside and then to the inside of Broderick Jones, and then Jones is just sitting there standing. You don't want to see that, but at the same time, they're not wearing pads yet.
Right. Which is all that matters. This is like we're getting questions about why black and put the pads on.
It's hard to evaluate the trenches.
I will say this, and there was a player who shared this with me as well. Not yesterday, but the day before. Well, yesterday we didn't talk to anybody because of the rain. It was that even though pads haven't been on, that this has been unusually physical for the acclimation period, and you can hear that. I don't know if that's okay. If you're going to be doing that, you might as well put the pads on, is what I'm saying here, to protect the athletes. Randy says it took me 24 hours to recover from mowing the lawn. Come on, Randy. Captain Crunch says, do they have Caleb Johnson focusing on pass blocking more opposed to other things? Not without pads.
No.
We're going to be answering a lot of questions like this today. Not without pads.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is acclimation period. This is more X's and O's focus. Even then, it's not like when Aaron Rodgers throws an interception. Yeah. I mean, Rick says everything starts to happen when the pads go on. Yeah. So like all the questions and stuff for Caleb Johnson about like, hey, because he's done nothing but talk about pass protection. It doesn't matter. We won't find out until Tuesday. And the thing, like, even though Tuesday's the first day of full pads, usually they do backs on backers first day, but it's not a guarantee. And so there's not even a guarantee that we'll even see that particular drill. But it'll happen, but we'll still see more because even when they do 11 on 11, there will be times where Caleb Johnson's thrown out there and like, listen, you gotta pass protect. This is your assignment. Based off of what protection they call at the line of scrimmage, and he's got to know where to go. First off, know where to go, and then win the rep. So it's not just that's the other thing with backs on backers is backs on you know who's coming, and that at that point it's just a matter of will. When you're actually doing 11 on 11, it's knowing where to go. And the thing is, like somebody like Zach Frazier talked today, he's like, Jaylen Warren's almost like having another offensive lineman back there. we can leave him alone on an island and trust him to
He'll
win
pick
the
up.
rep.
He'll
Yeah.
pick up and win the rep.
Yeah.
In that order here. Chad has a good question here. Says, how does the overall team speed look versus last year at this time? I have a couple of observations on this front. One is that when we're talking about team speed, boy, I'm really having a hard time not going overboard here. But watching Caleb Johnson hit a hole is something. Watching Arthur Smith, no, I'm not going to refer to Arthur in the team speed category, but watching Arthur Smith utilize Calvin Austin to his fullest, watching Aaron Rodgers find him in the open field. All four of the quarterbacks, by the way, in these drills, nobody ever wants to hear about the other guys, but all four have been doing a lot of throwing to Cal, including underneath. In other words, you have the big boys go out a little bit, okay, take the coverage with them, and then there's Cal, and he turns around. You notice that, Chris? There's been a lot of Cal underneath. Why? Because Cal can turn around and listen. He's so fast that just by existing, he's going to pick up an additional couple of yards. It makes for a nice little first down valve. I mean, to pick up a first down, but it also can be a nice little first down gain. Get yourself a quick 5-6 yards right off the bat instead of all those Najee runs for 2 yards that creates 2nd and 8. You know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
Speed. What do you got on speed?
It does look faster than last year, for sure. I mean, the defense looks faster. Today, one of the first, actually, I think it was the first run of team drills. They were running wide zone to the left, and Keanu Benton forced Jalen Warren to cut back against the formation. And Patrick Queen, if this would have been full pads,
oh no,
the explosion of sound that would have happened between Jalen Warren and Patrick Queen would have shook the ground of Chuck Noll Field. Queen was flying. There's no doubt about that. And again, watching the secondary run, watching the offensive line or the offense as a whole move, it does look a lot smoother, a little faster. But again, good first impression.
Good stuff. So Josh Petrick asks how Cameron Johnson's leg is looking. He is just fine.
Yeah, this isn't a competition. Yeah, it's just
he is just fine. He has a special leg. In fact, you know what? For everything that this team has that's got people excited, don't forget that you might have the best. You do have the best kicker. You might have the best kicker punter combo in the NFL. In fact, I'd have a really hard time. Yeah, I know. I'd have a really hard time going, yeah, but what about so-and-so?
I mean, he had one punt today, and I'm just because I'm a nerd. He had one punt today that, like, in terms of a formation, would have been about a 50-yard punt, maybe a couple yards shy of that, but it hung in the air for, according to my phone, 5.3 seconds.
There's Chris doing hang time out in training camp, everybody.
Yeah.
Nerd.
I'm a nerd. That's why.
I love it. Toddy says he hasn't done speed since college. Somebody had to do that one. Ben says, hey, Chris and DK, how's Mount Washington looking? Are they throwing to him? He is looking a little bit lighter, but still only the most massive human being in the history of civilization. And yes, they are throwing to him. They are throwing to him in all situations. They are continuing to line him up all across the line of scrimmage. He and I had a good talk a couple days ago, and he made pretty clear that he's happy with the way he's being utilized to date. He sees that as a trust thing, as a faith thing, meaning that it has to go both ways. The way he put it to me was, if I show them that I can make something out of these passes that come my way, then there's just going to be more of them. That part's in my control. And I like that, because you bring in a Jonnu Smith and you already have Pat Freiermuth. Darnell's a 3, okay? But he can be an active 3, especially with the way Arthur uses tight ends, right?
Oh, yeah. And again, it's not like every time they're in 12 personnel, it's always going to be Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. I mean, there will be times in which Darnell Washington is one of those two tight ends because you do see rotation. We saw that last year. There were times in which we're like, why are Connor Hayward and Michael Pruitt the two tight ends out there when you have Pat Fryermuth and Darnell Washington standing on the sideline? Well, we're gonna continue to see rotation, but now because the depth chart is better, you're going to see better tight ends on the field more consistently. And to add in again where Darnell is, the one thing that stood out to me about like Darnell and like catching passes today, very similar routes. I don't think it was the same route, but very similar routes. Corey Trice in coverage on Jonnu Smith and then also on Darnell Washington. He breaks up the pass on Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith catches it. He punches it out. It's incomplete. And Dwight says PQ is a rapper, not a thumper. He would have thumped the crap out of Jalen Warren on that. I'm just letting you know. But
yeah,
then
PQ, I'm sorry, PQ deserves a year or two grace period.
yeah.
I'm not going to speak for fans or advise anybody what to think or feel or whatever, but I know that my own view on this is that I mean, if I didn't hear from him every week, he needed time.
Yeah.
He took that responsibility of the green dot thing so seriously. This is my defense. I have to be able to call these shots. I have to be able to do this. He wasn't just like, oh man, green dot. I mean, he took it very, very seriously. And he feels like it's all just breathing at this point, that part of it. So good. Go ahead and play football. And by the way, let him go get somebody in the backfield too. Like Sergio asks here.
He needs to blitz more often.
Yeah. How big of a step does PQ have to take for the team to be successful? I don't think he has to be. Well, I'll just go ahead and say it. I don't think he has to be Roquan Smith, since everybody's always comparing the two. He just needs to be the best possible PQ. And that's not a shot at him. And that's not saying that Roquan here, PQ there. Okay. I'm saying that he just needs to be his best self. When he has an opportunity, and man, he brought this up with me, Chris, this week, unsolicited. It wasn't so much about the tackles because he feels like he got the tackles out of the way early. Okay. He had some tackling issues that unfortunately really linger in Pittsburgh. If you don't tackle, man, we have no use for you. But when it came to, he counted 6 drops, 6 picks he could have had. And that's the way a modern inside linebacker thinks. Okay. He's thinking about all the splash he could have generated. And he feels like he let everybody down because of that. Damian Ellswick is pointing out to us that PQ made the top 100. Was he 80 something?
No, he was higher than Cam Hayward.
Higher than Cam Hayward. His reputation in the league is better than it is with us fans. And that's because Pittsburghers are very tough with first impressions. Actually, we go in both directions. We're way too influenced by first impressions, good or bad. Okay, we're all convinced because Will Howard did a great series of interviews this summer that Will Howard is the next. Okay, easy there. Okay,
you should have heard the ovation for Will Howard today.
Louder than anything Rodgers has heard.
1,000%. It was a very loud ovation the first time he stepped in for team drills, and then he completed the first pass, and he might as well have just won them the Super Bowl. Like
it's a good pass, though. And being fair here, it's a good pass.
It was a good pass. Now, to go to the PQ thing, I got some pushback because whenever I was like talking about like getting the season set up, I said in my preview that Patrick Queen had a solid season last year, and I got some pushback on that. I was saying like pushback as if I almost said Patrick Queen was the greatest linebacker to ever walk the earth. Not what I said. I said he had a solid season. I said he had 129 tackles, and believe it or not, he had the best missed tackle rate of his career. So when talk about the missed tackle issues, well, it was the best he's ever done in his career in terms of missing tackles.
I came up with I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying so like you can try to chop this up as well, Landon Roberts was better. Well, was he? Or Peyton Wilson was better. Well, was he? Did he have the responsibility of the green dot? Could Landon Roberts do the things that Patrick Queen did in coverage? Could Peyton Wilson do the things that Patrick Queen did in either run or pass coverage? It's like I don't think that people contextualize properly how a player actually performs given their responsibilities as well, because that's how they're also evaluated by the team. It's not just stat counting, and you can always pick and choose things out of film. He obviously has a reputation throughout the league, and he has the respect of his peers, not just on the team, but also throughout the league. And now we talk about not having the issues of learning the offense or the defense, picking up the defense. The green dot issues are kind of behind him now. James Ferrier had a similar situation. He had a first year of almost acclimation with the Steelers when he first signed with them.
What they have in common.
Yeah, and second year.
Yep.
Yeah, and James Ferrier, whenever his second year, he was way better in the second year with the Steelers than was in the first. I'm not saying Patrick Queen's about to turn into James Ferrier, but let's give him more than a year before we start to, throw him out of the city.
We're going to take a couple more today. James Richard says, I'm still pulling for our man Mason Rudolph to be quarterback moving forward after this year. Mason's had a nice start to camp. Mason's made some good plays. He's had some good looks. He's tried to show off the arm more than once. I'm by the arm, I'm talking about the if he go to Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, he'd kill me.
Oklahoma State.
He's trying to show off the Oklahoma State version. Was it versus Pitt? Him and James Washington just destroying Pitt over at Heinz Field for like 17 touchdowns on the same Saturday afternoon. He's been really heaving them. He's looked good. His attitude and everything has been terrific here. Chris, we've talked about the dynamism on defense here. It would be crazy to not share with people a couple of things that you picked up there at field level from a couple of these guys who are going to be a big part of this. If you want to introduce, please, first your Deshaun Elliott clip that you have.
Yeah. Deshaun Elliott, again, talking about the impressions that the secondary have made over the first 3 practices, multiple interceptions, a lot of pass breakups, just flying all over the place. And then Deshaun Elliott kind of pours a lot of water on that, and he does that right here.
Here is Deshaun Elliott pouring the water.
We're decent. We're not there yet. We're making plays. We're trying to communicate. We got some new faces in the secondary, so those guys are trying to find their place, in our home, on our team. So I think they're doing a good job of communicating, picking the defense up. Just one day at a time. What's day 2, day 3? So give us about another month. I think we'll be right on it. We got a lot of talent. We got Jay Ram, Juan, Chuck came in. Some young guys are going to step up, so I think we'll be fine.
I like that attitude way more than, hey, we're the awesomest. We're the greatest. The Cleveland thing where you win the Super Bowl in March. I like that. Now, you also have a clip for us here from Joey Porter Jr. And just to throw in here before we get to it, that Joey Porter Sr. joined Ben Roethlisberger and Marquise Pouncey, fittingly going in together, those two, but also Joey Sr. going into the Steelers Hall of Honor. To say that those are richly deserved is the understatement of the year on any of our channels this year. Congratulations to all 3.
Yeah, that might be obviously having Ben in the class is obviously that ups the value of the class a bit, but that might be one of the better classes that they put in the Hall of Honor. But it was awesome, and today happened to also be Joey Porter Jr.'s birthday, which is really, really cool as well. But yeah, it was really cool. But the part that I actually have here from Joey talking isn't about that. It's actually about the consistent battles. There's been a lot of Joey Porter Jr. lining up across from DK Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
There have been some that DK Metcalf's won. There have been some that Joey's won. And today, Rodgers' real first deep ball, like real deep ball, like the moon ball type, goes downfield, intended for DK Metcalf. Porter forces Metcalf out of bounds. Legally? Like, no, this was not pass interference. This was a legitimate, like, all over him, like actual coverage, like covered DK Metcalf, which is not easy to do, but it's been a back and forth thing. And so, of course, that comes up and like, how are these battles going? And Will Porter talked about that.
And here right now is Porter Jr.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's iron sharpening iron. We had talked about we trying to get better at the end of the day. and he's going to push me to my limits, and I'm going to try to push him to his. And at the end of the day, we're on the same team, so we're just trying to get better.
It seems like he's when he.
How would you describe freak of nature? You know, there's not a lot of guys that look like him because I'm like him, so it's definitely something different every time you go against him.
That's an awesome hat/towel combination. That's the insight that I have to offer there. Man, I don't want to use the word pressure excessively here. To me, there's pressure on one person in this entire camp, and that's Broderick Jones. But where Joey Jr. is concerned, you know they're not going to pick to throw at Jalen Ramsey. You know they're not going to pick to throw at Darius Slay. If they got to pick between any of those three, they're going at 2-4, even if it's just because they hope that he'll get a flag thrown.
Well, and so that's the other thing that, like, again, we're at the very early stages of camp. Referees aren't here yet. Like, I mean, I'm not talking about like there are no referees here, not even like some local ones that have been hired. I'm talking NFL referees, and they will be here eventually. The Steelers always have NFL referees come because they want to have a really good idea of how things are going to be called. And the day that referees get here, it will not surprise me whatsoever if that be the first day that we see receivers versus DBs, which they usually do near an end zone, like high red zone type drills, where and then having Porter match up against Metcalf or match up against whoever just to see how he does in terms of flirting with that line of being physical, but also not crossing the line to getting flags thrown. Because that's obviously the big concern about Joey Porter Jr. About like, will he cut down on the flags?
Mm-hmm. He has to. He has to. Otherwise, that becomes a real issue because the whole scheme gets blown up. Then you can't do the three coverage guys. Our last question for the day comes from Slim. He's asking both of us, who are you guys that you're most excited to see make some splash at St. Vincent? If you could pick one player on offense and one player on defense, Chris, you want to take offense? One player that you want to see make some splash at St. Vincent, then presumably Slim means before they even get to preseason.
I'm going to go with Caleb Johnson, and I'm not saying that because it's been a good first few days for him. But I want to see splash in terms of when they have the pads on, how's he running through, when the holes might not be as pristine as they are right now.
They're not college holes.
Right. And whenever it's Cam Hayward and Keanu Benton and Derek Harmon and TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith and that entire front when they're in their base defense, how will it look when Caleb Johnson's trying to find those holes and trying to read those holes? I'm curious to see how that plays out. But obviously, you can create splash in other ways, too. You can blow up a linebacker in pass protection. That is splash, in my opinion. So I'm looking for that on the offensive side.
You know, on the defensive side, I'm going to take the only player who was drafted ahead of Caleb Johnson by the Steelers. We are not seeing line play. If you think you're seeing line play in random social media videos or whatever, you're not. Line play without physical contact is a walkthrough. Okay? They need to be able to engage. And yes, that goes for Broderick, who I know has been maligned, sometimes rightly, sometimes not. Broad is a first hit guy. Broad is a contact. Boom. He's got to be able to smash you in the mouth. Otherwise, he's just a dude, like most of them are. So there has to be some understanding of that. Derek Harmon, to be able to get into the backfield, to get his hand up and block a pass the way he did a couple days ago out there. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I also want to thank the Butthole for coming in with a $2 contribution here, fishing for trout with 5. And everybody for being on board with us today. We're going to be hooking up again on Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday. I'll be back out there, and we'll do another full-blown double shot. We're actually going to have a double shot here on Monday. Just studio bound to whatever. Chris is going to take the day off. I don't even want him to come in. Just go away Monday, unless you want to. It's up to you. I'm putting you on the spot here. Take the day.
I'll see how I'm feeling.
Okay, all right. So you heard it here on the record. Here, I offered him the whole day off, but we'll see how that goes because he likes you guys.
Apparently, yeah, I do.
Actual final word. I've been saving this through the whole program. Bradley Gardner has been cleaning fish tanks the entire show that this show has gone on. He works at a fish hatchery. That is job du jour for our audience, for our membership. Appreciate what you do there, my man. Everybody's got a job to do. And if you want to come on and talk about it sometime, we'll have at it. All right, guys, we'll see you all on. Well, I'll be back here on Monday. All right, bye-bye.